trust me when I tell you, you're not going to want to miss out on this. Welcome back, and if you're new here, hey girl, hey. This is Savannah, and today I'm going to be recommending you 3 books to read before the summer ends. So, that was very like old YouTube coding. Being said, this stack could potentially have books that everybody and their mothers has been regurgitating on TikTok, okay? I'm not saying that this video is not free of that, but what I am saying is hopefully with all the books that I have read so far during the summer and the spring, hopefully I have selected a stack of books that feel open to a plethora of ages and dabble in different sections of summer, of romance, of fiction, of friendship. I wanted to just give it all. So for anybody young that has come across this video and is interested in reading something before school starts, this is a great book for you. It is called Today, Tonight, Tomorrow, and it's by Rachel Lynn Solomon. If you watch shows like Never Have I Ever, you're going to love this book. Characters going through trials and tribulations, but growing and becoming a better person while simultaneously getting into like messy relationships, but then falling and finding the love of their life. You're gonna like this book. This book, immediately pick it up. Thank you. Like, you know what? F it. Let's just be teenagers one more time before we start our adult life and get into making decisions that are gonna change our lives forever. Like, we don't even know what's gonna happen to us, to everybody around us. Everybody's starting a new chapter. Everything is on a blank slate. But before that happens, let's go out with a bang. And if you like a good academic enemies to lovers or like frenemies vibes, there's something so innocent and whimsical about a teenage moment in time of your life. Like, there's just something so whimsy about it. I will say that if you do love this book so much, the author did come out with a second one, and that's them in college instead of in high school. I haven't read that one just yet. I don't know if I'm gonna ever get around to it. Probably. I just haven't had the time, and honestly, I haven't found it. I haven't been gravitated to it. Though that's a college love story, and I'm just more so about like high school love story saying goodbye. Anyway, I will say that there is the very smallest closed door spice in this book. I honestly think you could have done without it, but I think it was tasteful enough to respect the fact that these are still kids. Okay, and I do think it's incredibly weird when authors start writing really intimate scenes with children in it. You know, it's weird. So it's a fine line. Obviously, teenagers have sex. It is what it is. Discussing it in a way where it's like it does happen versus let's like, you know, sexualize it. Like, it's just, there's just a fine line, and I think she did really well with that line. I keep running out of storage, okay? And I keep running out of time. I also keep running out of patience, so let's film the second half of this video. So the first half was right here, but my camera shut off. Okay, so I'm gonna lose my mind. If you're having a bad day and everything's going wrong for you, and it's like in the mid of summer, sweltering heat wave, you are just so tired, you're ready to go home, you're walking down the street, you literally could not be bothered with anything else, like another inconvenience, and that's it, you're imploding. You come across this stand with this old man selling lemonade, and he offers you a sample, and you're like, heck yeah, why would I say no to a sample? So you have the sample. That's refreshing. Wow. And he just talks to you about life, about what's going on, and you're kind of entertaining it for the sake of being polite, but you're not a small talk kind of gal, you're like whatever. But he knows how to pull you into conversation, and so you're listening, and you guys talk, and then he says, you kind of look like my wife, when she was younger, and you're like, oh, is she around? And he's like, she passed away years ago. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Wow. And you're like, I don't know how to respond to that. How the heck am I going to respond to that? And he's like, no worries. This actually was her recipe. So do you want another sample? Yeah, it's actually really refreshing. You have another one. Man, I think I might end up buying just like a cup of lemonade. But instead, before you say that, before you pull out your card, he's like, you know what? I'm going to give you a cup of the lemonade. And, you know, you were telling me about your day, and I just want to be something good in the day that you've been having. So here you go. And you're like, no, I'll pay for sure. And he's like, no, you're fine. Thank you so much for talking to me. I really appreciate it. And honestly, just share the word that I'm here. That means something more. And so he lets you go with a cup of lemonade, and you're just like holding the cup of lemonade, walking around, and you're like, yeah, you know what, life may not be that bad. You know, things have not been going my way. People have been pissing me off. I look around and I'm like, you know, everybody seems to be enjoying the summer while I'm just sitting around feeling like I'm missing out. Like everybody's falling in love, but I'm falling behind, right? You know? And you sit down with the cup, and as you're about to drink, you see the guy that's sitting near you, and you see him kind of having a rough day. Like the way he's like scribbling down something, he looks irritated, he's tense, his shoulders are up, like his jaw, and you're just kind of observing. And then you overhear something that might indicate like, oh man, he's having like a really bad day. And then you see him kind of like wipe his head. It's hot. You get reminded that it's hot. And you kind of forgot about it for a second because you were refreshed. And so you look at the cup, and you look at the guy, and you say, excuse me? And he looks over, ready to shoot daggers at you. And you say, you know, I got this lemonade. I haven't had it yet. Like, I haven't drunk out of the straw yet. Do you want the lemonade? You look like you might need it more than me. And he's like, who the heck are you? And you say, no, I get it. I was having an incredibly bad day. And then this really nice man at the lemonade stand over there, you point to the area. He looks over, and you say, he was really nice. He noticed I was having a bad day, so he gave me a cup of lemonade. I haven't had any just yet, so honestly, I think I'm just going to go ahead and extend the kindness to you because I feel a lot better, and I think this will definitely help you feel a lot better. So he takes the cup of lemonade, he takes a sip, he's like, wow, this is really good lemonade, and you guys get to talking. Small talk, even though you don't really like small talk, but you're doing it so easily now. And you get to know about what's going on, why life just seems to be just against you. You guys kind of get a little cynical with each other about what's going on, but you're relating to each other. Through somebody else, you found a connection. And at the end of all of it, what started out as a sweltering, annoying, frustrating day is now refreshed by sitting under a tree by this stranger that you would have never talked to in the first place if it weren't for a cup of lemonade. What a funny story, isn't it? How I Met Your Dad. This book will remind you that relationships do not need to be chaotic to be good. In fact, some of the best relationships are incredibly boring, not because they don't have anything fun going on, but because we are so accustomed to riding the highs and riding the lows that we tend to forget that being at peace sometimes just might mean that we'll be bored from time to time. But we're not bored of the relationship. We're actually just enjoying sitting in a very peaceful, calm nervous system setting and unlearning what we used to tie ourselves to make us believe that we needed such a passionate, fast-paced, quick, riding the highs, getting through the lows type relationship. Sometimes you're in like the most peaceful, mature relationship ever. You're gonna be incredibly bored, but you're not bored with the person. You're just finally resting. And you kind of don't really know what to do with all that resting. But yeah, if you like a really good, funny rom-com, but very mature, well-rounded story, I would do this. If you like more of the toxic, much more fluffy, cliche vibes, I wouldn't pick Emily Henry. I'm gonna be so for real. If you're accustomed to relationships that have a little bit of fucking problems in it, this is not gonna be for you. I've seen reviews where people are like, I wasn't convinced that he loved her, or they had no chemistry. What were you reading? I think you're just accustomed to men that bully you and women that are incredibly indecisive and have pick-me behavior. I don't know, dude. This is the most adult romance in like the most PG way ever, you know? Like adult as in a mature, not erotica. That's what I mean. I think there's closed door spice in here, but Emily Henry doesn't do all that from what I know from this book, right? I don't know if her other books are different. But I love that. I am so tired of reading about relationships and then like there's chapters on chapters of them getting it hot and, you know, spicy in there. Like, okay, I get it. They are gonna do it. But like if everything has to lead up to a sex scene, then I fear that this relationship really isn't that interesting anyway in the first place. But this is a fantastic beach read. Like I would take this to the pool, I would take this to the resort, I would take this to the hotel, I would take this to the beach, I would take this anywhere. I would take this to the cafe. I literally actively took this to work and like snuck in reading time when I went to the bathroom. So, but this is the perfect beach read. It just reminds you that just have a glass of lemonade, okay? Because when life gives you lemons, you just gotta fucking make some lemonade out of that shit. Put a little sugar, man. Like, okay, and then last but never least is The Last Original Wife by Dorothea Benton Frank. I have no idea who this girly pop is, okay? But she's passed away. She passed away a while ago. I was leaving Charleston, South Carolina, and I wanted to go to a bookstore before I left because it was going to be like an 8-hour road trip, okay? I needed to have at least a book stack on me, okay? And so we went in there and I was browsing and I came across this book. And the cover and the description gave me something entirely different than what was in the book. Well, not true. The description and the title exactly explain what's going on in the book, but simultaneously the contents of the story give you a lot more than obviously what you get from the description, which is what it's supposed to do in the first place. This was a fantastic book to read on a road trip. It's not entirely too dense, you know, you don't have to do so much thinking, and I found it incredibly... It was just the best way to say goodbye to the state that I was leaving. I went to Charleston to visit the area, and then I picked up a book written by an author that was born and raised in Charleston and wrote a story about a woman rediscovering herself again in her childhood home, which is Charleston, South Carolina. If you love books that have a little bit of that southern atmosphere, this is going to be a great book for you. This is a good beach read. This is a good vacation read. I'm in my 20s, and this book made me feel happy because it reminded me that love does not have an age and that life does not stop once you turn 30 or 40. You know, life keeps going after it, and in fact, sometimes it gets incredibly better. You can be 45 years old and you still have so much ahead of you, you don't even realize it. And it's comforting because as somebody who's incredibly young and is constantly being told that we have to make sure we figure everything out in our 20s, I'm incredibly stressed. I'm frustrated because it just always feels like I'm running out of time. And this book is a love story about a woman, not just like falling back in love with herself, but also going back to her roots and realizing that she just kept choosing to put other people first. And she, for the longest time, never, ever, ever thought about herself. So she chose herself. She chose her freedom. She chose her love. She chose to literally say F you to everybody in her life and start over. And this, honestly, if you're a mama that is just like struggling and you feel like you have wasted majority of your life being a mom, being a good wife, I think this is a great book for you because this book just reminds you that you can just decide to leave. Like at the end of the day, yes, you do have a relationship and you've put your all into it. And yes, you did have kids, and now even though they're older, you still tend to them, right? You seem to just forgot who you were and you just became extensions of other people. And if you need a little bit of a pick-me-up or an inspiration, this book is going to show you that this woman went through the exact same thing. She became an extension of other people and lost herself and realized that she's got probably about like 2 decades left in her. And she is not about to waste those decades, because I pride myself on the selection that I made for you guys, because let's be so for real. Most of the people that are recommending books are just giving books in like the same category, and it's kind of getting a little boring, okay? While you may have heard of these books, you may also have not heard of these books. But I wanted to give a book for like a big age range as well as life experience. So this is your last year. You want to go out with a bang? Let's end with a bang. When life gives you lemons, no matter what, life doesn't end when you turn 40. Fall is right around the corner, so make sure you crank these books into your TBR, okay? Don't miss out. There's a little bit of everything for everybody. And let me know what you thought about these books. And if you have read these books, let me know what you think about them. And let's see if our reviews are different, because that's actually pretty fun. Bye!